Alright, so this is a bit of a tease, but this is coming to the library really soon. So I've been hinting at the interactive capabilities for a while for OS6. And all the other, there's so many features in OS6, it could have been multiple OS releases, but all of these features, edit mode, track player, all the new capabilities, they've kind of been eclipsing what's actually possible. And part of it is, that there's just so much, it's hard for people to understand. Part of it is I haven't had time to actually kind of put my own ideas together based on what we built in. So the interactive style. So we had, OS3, OS4, we had the responsive capabilities where you could have swing speed and have swing effects. OS5, we obviously added gestures. We added some more responsive capabilities with the blade angle, with the twist angle, with things like battery level. But then OS6, we added a ton more capabilities. So we've added the ability now to have the hyper responsive effects. So responsive effects are just like one factor, like blade angle or swing speed or twist angle. Hyper responsive combines multiples. So you can have swing speed and acceleration, which actually combine to create like inertia. You can have swing speed and angle. You can have swing speed and clash strength. You can have swing acceleration and clash strength, blade angle. So we're getting more and more information from the board to be able to be applied to the individual styles. Well, the interactive capabilities actually take it to a whole nother level. They're essentially hyper responsive effects, but they actually have controls to them, almost like a video game. And that's why I'm calling them interactive. Now, the controls are completely what you want for each style. So we can build super unique interactive capabilities into the blades. So I've got 3 quick examples. I actually have a laundry list of stuff coming to the library. I'm putting together videos. I'm doing final testing. The library will be getting a pretty big update with a bunch of new capabilities. But these 3 I wanted to show, again, just kind of the tip of the iceberg of what's coming. So this one here, this is the Ninth Jedi. This is Kara's blade. So the camera probably brightens this up a bit because of how it washes out. But this is actually a really dim green flickering blade, and it's kind of a slow flicker, dull green. Now, in the episode of the Ninth Jedi, the sabers themselves, they react to the connection to the force of the user. And we kind of go on Kara's journey in that episode where when she's first playing in her father's shop with the saber, it changes length on her, it's really dull. And then even later on when she's confronted by the Sith, she first ignites the blade to protect herself. It's a dull green, which is where this comes into play. Now this has full interactive capabilities on it in that the dull green is actually in place until you do something. In this case, because I wanted to match to the episode, if you do 10 clashes or a mix of clashes and lockups, but you have to do 10 because that's how many occurred in the episode before she kind of figured out the force. So if you do 10 clashes, after that 10th clash, the 10th clash will actually unlock the capability of your crystal, just like in the episode. And then when you do a lockup, so when you block and hold a lockup, the full potential of your force connection will overwhelm the blade and you'll get a full bright green takeover of the blade. And it's because it's an interactive capability, you can do lockup at any point prior to unlocking that capability, and it'll just do regular lockup over this dull green. So right now it's a dull green, I'll do a lockup, so I get my lockup, and the blade stays dull green. Now bear with me, you're going to see it in a minute because I still have to go through 9 more. So now I'm just going to do 9 clashes, and it is exactly 10 because that's how many were in the episode, so I wanted to match. So we'll do clash, and we've got real clash, so you're going to get the different clash effects based on how hard you hit. Oh man, I lost count. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to do 1 for good luck, but you have to just do 10, but I think I lost count. So 1 for good luck. So now, my capability is unlocked in this blade style. When I do lockup now, after 2 seconds of doing a lockup, the blade is actually going to take the full power of this kyber crystal is going to take over. So let's do it. And now I've got the full potential of my blade taken over. And now this saber will stay bright green because I'm fully connected to the Force. So this interactive style was designed to mimic and follow along that episode where if you use the saber, at first it's going to stay that dull green until you get to that 10th clash, which unlocks the capability, and then you do the lockup and it releases the energy. And that's just one application. We can mix and match all of the responsive capabilities, combine them with each other. We can mix and match with effects. We can mix and match with other things. And we can build them all together to create almost video game-like capabilities in these blade styles. But so this is coming to the library along with a bunch of other updates. I know a lot of people have been interested in this one and how I was going to apply it. The interactive capabilities are what I went after for this, so that's why this one took a little while. But this is coming, but I've actually got two more just to kind of demo. So let's... And now that blade would actually stay bright green no matter how many times you ignite it, because you released it until you change your preset, or if you obviously reboot. And then you start the whole journey over again. And that's a very specific setup, but that's just one little capability of all this interactive stuff. So let's do another new one. So this is an update actually to a style that we built a long time ago in OS5. This is the new fire and ice style. So this is a regular flame blade, but now you can freeze this blade with ice using your force effect. The timing of the ice takeover is based on your force effect, but unlike the OS5 one, so the OS5 one was a timed effect. So you do the force for, however many seconds, I think it was 20 or 30 seconds, the blade would stay frozen and then it would undo itself. This is interactive. This blade will stay frozen until you break the ice. So we're going to do the force effect. And it's going to stay frozen. So now I've got an ice effect. Now this blade will stay frozen for however long I leave it. The only way to break the ice is with clashes or lockups. So if I clash, and it's also reading how hard you clash. So if you do light clashes, it'll take longer. If you do hard clashes, it'll go faster. You have to break at least 75% of this ice up for the flame to take back over. And it's going to stay frozen until I do that. And then once it's gone past that 75% of the ice broken up, the flame will start to melt the remaining ice and take back over. Now, you're going to see the flame underneath this effect is actually also frozen. There's no movement in the fire under. So when I do my first light clash, you'll see there's no movement to that. And I'll do a harder one, a couple clashes now. I'm not quite there. Let me do... Now that I've got about 75, now you're going to see that fire start take over. It's going to melt the ice, and then I've got my fire effect back. And it's full interactive, so if you only broke the ice to about halfway and then didn't clash or lock up again, it would stay halfway and the fire would stay frozen until you break it up fully. So you've got to break enough of the ice up for the fire to take back over. And you can do that force effect as many times as you want, and that ice blade will stay active until you break that ice. So that's another interactive capability. This one's applied as a force effect, but it's not timed. It's interactive. It stays frozen until you break the ice. And then we've got one more to show. And there's so many more, so I'm doing these three just because these are the first three videos I've shot. So this one's kind of apropos that we're talking about interactive capabilities being like video games. So this is the Doom Eternal Crucible sword style. And obviously I've taken some liberty with it, but the idea on this style is just like a video game. So it just has this simple flickering effect. I can ignite this Crucible blade by dipping it in the flame. So dipping it in the flame in the game is when you point it down into that fire pit and it actually ignites. And in the game you get 3 uses out of it. So how we're going to do this for this interactive style is just like that. So when I point this down, I'm going to ignite my blade on fire. I get 3 clashes or lockups, and then I have to recharge it. So we're going to go, so right now it's going to stay this way until I point it down and dip it in. So when I dip it in, now I've got my fire Crucible blade, and this will stay on fire until I do 3 clashes. And that's meant after the game. We can set it for however many we want, but to be like the game. So if I do 3 clashes, 1, 2, I still have my fire. Now on my third one, I'm going to lose my flame. Now it's back to normal, but I can reset it. I can recharge this blade by just dipping it down again. And there's no buttons involved in this one. This was an interactive style that's totally responding to what you're doing with the saber, which is we're not limited by buttons, we're not limited by effects, we're not limited by prop files. This is going to be, this one in particular is full interactive based on what you're doing with the saber. So this fire will stay active until I do 3 more clashes. and then once I've done those 3 clashes, it goes back, and I just have to recharge it. And again, there's no buttons involved, so the 2, 3 clashes, I ran out. All I have to do, point down, dip it in, fire again. There's no timings on this. This is full interactive. This is based totally on what you're doing with the blade style. And there's so many more coming. I know I've been teasing it for a while, and these 3 are just a really small tease. There's a lot more I'm building. There'll be a lot of new styles added with the next update to the library, and a backlog more coming. But these interactive capabilities are definitely next level, and there's really no limit to what we're going to be able to do in terms of taking your saber blade styles and effects and making them feel like you're in a video game, feel like they're real, really, just completely unique stuff that you haven't seen before. So I'm super psyched. This update will be coming very shortly. I have to shoot some more videos. I got to do a little bit more testing, and I'm just about done with all the library updates, and then that will release, and you guys will get your hands on these and play around with them. But I think you're going to blow your mind. To me, this is like next level of capability for these blade styles. So I'm super psyched, and this is all part of OS6. It's just stuff that we haven't even tapped into yet. So tons of stuff coming. Hope you enjoy.